Hello, and welcome to Let's Put on a Show, a podcast about musicals, theater, and musical theater, hosted by someone who's not super into any of those things.
And someone who really, really is.
Yeah, so this recording is not the third recording that we've done, but it's the third one's going to go up because we just watched
Ride the Cyclone
at Act Theater in
Seattle.
In sunny Seattle, Washington. It is actually sunny today.
Yeah, I was going to say, we can actually see the city today.
Yeah, and so we just watched this musical. It's a new-ish musical. There's been, like, how many productions?
There's 2 or 3. Like, it started in I think, Toronto, and it had a Chicago run, and now it's here in Seattle.
Yeah, so Ride the Cyclone. What even is that? Most people probably haven't heard of it.
The way it was pitched to me was it is a dark, campy comedy about a high school choir that gets sent to purgatory.
Yeah, that's a pretty good elevator pitch. It's a very strange musical, which is probably why I really liked it.
I mean, I really liked it too.
I know, but like, I liked it because it does a lot of things that musicals usually don't do.
And it does them well.
Yes, it doesn't just kind of go, haha, we're being original. It's like, yeah, we're being original and good.
Yeah.
Also good. I can see this, like...
It's a 1-act, runs without intermission.
Yeah, and it's like an hour and 40 or so?
Hour 45, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, in that range. And it really is, like just amazing to watch. So let's get into a little bit more depth here. So the main action of the story takes place in the afterlife.
Purgatory, not afterlife.
All right, so the kind of hell's waiting room, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or whatever's afterwards. They don't go into that.
In the program, it says, setting, present, a dilapidated warehouse.
Yeah, but the warehouse is not a literal warehouse, more of a metaphysical warehouse.
Where there is a weird fortune teller robot.
There is our host and our narrator, the amazing Karnak, my favorite character in the play. So Karnak is basically a Zoltar big style fortune telling machine. Like, you put in your coin, you turn a lever, it makes some lights and flashes and stuff. And there's a really impressive kind of puppet setup that there's actually like a real dude in there, but he's got the mechanical movements down so much that I thought that the entire thing was like a prop puppet.
Until he came out in the end, and we're just like, wait, that's a dude?
It's like, that's a real guy? Okay, cool. But anyway, so he's our narrator, and he introduces the premise, which is that at 6:17?
It was like at 6:17 they get on the roller coaster. At 6:19 the front axle breaks, sending them all to their untimely demise.
Yeah, and they in this case is the
St. Cassian's School Choir from Uranium, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, a dying town in the middle of nowhere, and at first it's reported there are 6 casualties from the roller coaster.
And you only meet 5, and you spend the first couple of songs kind of going, wait, but there were 6. And then my first thought is like, oh shit, did someone get, sick right before the show? Did
they have to, improvise?
But they have understudies, listed. So I'd assume they would go on. But then, noticing the choreography, everything was meant for those 5 for that song.
Yeah.
And you're next introduced to the character of Jane Doe.
Who is awesome. She's the conceit is that all of them were identified after the crash, and she was decapitated by the crash,
and no one came forward to claim her.
Yeah, no one knows who she is. So her entire affect is basically like a broken doll.
Yeah.
And she even carries a headless doll around with her, and she is super duper creepy. It's amazing.
And firmly creeps out all the other characters.
Oh yeah,
that's my favorite thing.
Yeah. So
Jane Doe, played by Emily Rome.
Yeah. Who's very good.
Who's very good. I'm just going to run through the characters real quick.
Yeah, go for it. Because it's a really character-driven play. There's not a lot of plot.
Yeah, there's only the 7 characters, which is Constance Blackwood, played by Lillian Castillo, Karnak, played by Carl Hamilton, Jane Doe, played by Emily Rome, Ricky Potts, played by Connor Russell, who's a Seattle boy, Misha Baczynski, played by Adam Stanley, also from Seattle, Ocean O'Connell Rosenberg, played by Tiffany Tetreault, and Noel Gruber, played by Colby Wardell.
Yeah, so...
And that's it. That's all the people in the show.
Yeah, so let's go into, what they are at the beginning of the show. Kind of their outer things. Because since this play is actually going on, I don't really want to spoil it.
Yeah, that was my thought too.
So we're just going to talk a little bit about what the characters are like at the beginning, because that's
that's what you need to know.
That's what you need to know if you're going to like it, kind of. So Ocean.
Ocean is like Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah, Ocean is like the
She's
in the grand like Breakfast Club tradition. She's like the overachieving
popular one. She's
Yeah.
got the perfect GPA, accepted to all the universities.
yeah, and she's like super positive, but in a really passive aggressive way.
Yeah, she's like she's like Breakfast Club. There's also I would liken her to Rachel from Glee
Or Rachel from Friends.
or Rachel from Friends.
Except Rachel from Friends is kind of dumb.
I was gonna
Like,
say I haven't
yeah.
seen Friends
Good.
really.
Probably
so.
not a great idea. Anyway,
Anyway, her song, which is one of the first songs in the show, I feel comfortable talking about it,
Yeah.
is basically a Taylor Swift song on steroids.
yeah, and so quickly, quick sidebar here. Here's one reason that I really like this show, and it's a reason that that makes a bit of sense considering the context of our show, which is all of the songs are unique. Mm-hmm. All of them sound and feel really different because they're all supposed to represent these different characters, these different people who have different wants and dreams and personalities, and so they all are very different. Like they don't feel samey. Like fucking Greatest Showman.
It's the same song 8 times.
And Pirate Queen very similarly. It's like
Pirate Queen, they sounded different, but they were all just at 35.
Yeah, it's like all the same. They are extremely different. Like the first song is a Taylor Swift song, basically. On steroids. The next one is like this
French 40s drag number.
Yeah, by
Noel.
Noel, who is the most dramatic boy in the town, and he's gay, and he's like a nihilist, and he's completely like over everything, and he's incredibly like he's like a little bit snooty almost.
A little bit, yeah.
Like he's very dramatic.
Yeah.
But he gets this amazing like drag act where he talks about wanting to be a French prostitute and die of typhoid.
It's really
incredible.
Good. So I'm just gonna go through real quick because I don't want to spoil all the songs.
Yeah.
But so this is the order I'm talking about. The characters is the order they're listed in the program.
Yeah, which is not necessarily in order of importance.
Yeah.
But
so the first one listed is Constance Blackwood, who is the best friend.
Yeah, Ocean's
She's
bestie.
the nicest girl in town.
And she's like, her parents lived there, and like her entire family has like lived and died their entire lives here.
And she doesn't want that.
I don't even.
She's ashamed of wanting that. I think is closer.
But anyway, but that's not really obvious at first.
Yeah.
Basically, she's like just kind of nice and extremely submissive.
Yeah.
She always is going along with Ocean,
who is her best friend.
Who's her best friend.
And segueing into Ocean.
Yeah.
Ocean, as we described, is the super. I wouldn't call her popular, but she's preppy.
Yeah.
Yes, very preppy. And then you have Ricky Potts, who is the quiet disabled character at first.
Literally, like, he's quiet because he is mute.
Yes, he's quiet because he is mute, but then as soon as they're in the afterlife, he's just like, hey guys, I can talk, I can walk. Oh, by the way, I can play accordion now, because why not?
We're in the afterlife.
We're in the afterlife. And then Misha Baczynski is the Ukrainian bad boy, played by Adam Stanley.
Yeah, who, he loves rap, and he's, like, constantly trying to steal booze and all that. And he is great.
He's my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all my favorites. And then we already described Noel Gruber, who is the nihilist gay kid.
Yeah.
Which is a weird amount of people. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so those are the characters, and they're all 5 members of this choir, and then there's Jane Doe, who
for the first like half of the play is just kind of there being creepy, and it's amazing.
And then you hear you get her song, which is the Ballad of Jane Doe, which is just
it's
amazing. I don't want to talk about it.
No, I don't want to talk about it just because it's a testament to the show and to the songs that all of the songs are kind of, well, most of the songs are very like kind of poppy and like they have a lot of energy to them, but there's always like a bit of a dark undercurrent to all of them.
teen angst, and they capture that.
Not even necessarily teen angst, but like the idea of like something running underneath the surface. Mm-hmm. Like in the first song, Ocean's song, which is called
What the World Needs.
What the World Needs. It's kind of outwardly this extremely positive, like, ha, yeah, take on the world, up with people, that kind of thing. But it's also all about how she is the most important one out of all of them, and how the rest of them aren't important, and she is. And if you just listen to the melody, like, one of the characters even says, like, I'm more of a melody person, not so much with lyrics.
Did you actually say that?
Did you actually say that? Yeah. And so that's all great. And then you get the Ballad of Jane Doe, which, not to spoil or anything, is an extremely dark and melancholic and kind of, like, beautiful song.
Well, also
and it doesn't feel out of place with the rest of these, like, really poppy, high-energy numbers.
Well, and everyone has a different voice type, which is something that I really wish more musicals would do.
Yeah.
And, like, that is the biggest thing for it is Emily Rome, who plays Jane Doe, is obviously a classically trained soprano, whereas everyone else is musical theater, which is great. And, like, I'm classically trained. I feel that. I love that.
Yeah.
But, like, her being able to do these, like, 2 octaves up descants over everybody gives it that melancholic feeling that you were talking about.
Yeah. But it's also
And also,
just...
everyone is just super, super sound musicians. Like, there is literal 6-part harmony, like, half the show.
Yeah. And also just the costume changes are extremely quick and extremely smooth and just seamless almost.
Yeah.
Like,
some of those clothes were seamless. They were tearaway.
Yeah, but there was, like, a few times where there's, like, a transition between someone wearing something else, and I just could, because my attention was so, directed to somewhere else on stage. But it's a very funny play, but it's extremely nihilistic. Mm-hmm. It's a nihilistic spectacle of death and gloom that really made me happy.
Mm-hmm. I was really happy. Like, this was one of the shows that I've known about for months and have been super excited for.
Yeah.
Like, especially, like, I saw Adam Stanley in a show last year that he absolutely blew me away. He was in Tribes at the Act, which he was the brother to Joshua Castile's character, who was deaf, and the rest of his family was hearing, and that's what the show dealt with. And then I'd seen Connor Russell in October Sky in San Diego, and he tends to play kind of the shy, awkward kids.
Yeah.
So that wasn't too much of a takeaway. But he also played Flounder in Little Mermaid.
Well, there you go. Of course he did.
Which totally makes sense.
Wait, hold on, which one did?
Ricky.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Space-age bachelor man.
Yeah, okay. That's something you need to experience for yourself, because a lot of this play is very visual, also, in a way that plays kind of aren't usually. Not just in terms of choreography, but in terms of staging and set decoration. Like, there is just the Karnak box there for the entire play. Mm-hmm. And most of the time you don't notice it, but it's still there. And the entire scenery is basically made out of broken, like, carnival rides and carnival games. And
like, there's a broken track circling the top of the stage.
Yeah, and there's the cyclone sign up there.
That lights up in half bits and flickers.
Yeah, and it's just so atmospheric. And here's something I kind of want to talk about, which is genre. Because musical theater has a weird tendency to be treated as its own genre. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, because show tunes are a thing.
Yeah.
But Hamilton is not 42nd Street, is not Phantom of the Opera.
Right. So I think, for me, musical theater is more of a modifier to another genre. And the problem I have so often is when people who are writing musicals treat musical as the genre. Because what that means is that everything in the play, except for the music, is there in service of the music. Mm-hmm. Which is fine if you're doing a review or something like that, but if you're doing a narrative production or even Well, no, this is pretty narrative.
Yeah.
If you're doing a narrative production, it can't just be there as like a framework to get to music, because that's the same thinking that leads to the Transformers movies.
Also, Mamma Mia.
Also, Mamma Mia, which we have recorded, but we haven't released it yet. So look forward to that, people.
Yeah. But no, I have a thing, actually, regarding that, where Mamma Mia was created basically by saying, we have all these ABBA songs, let's make a plot that makes them work together.
Yeah.
Whereas then you can have Across the Universe, which they had the plot, and then they said, let's figure out which songs can work.
Right.
And it is a just much better show.
Yeah.
But it's both the same quote-unquote jukebox musical. ABBA used Mamma Mia, Across the Universe uses Beatles.
Yeah. But then there's also just the difference in genre there, because Across the Universe is pretty strongly like a coming-of-age drama and romance.
Yeah.
And Mamma Mia is ostensibly a comedy.
Ostensibly.
Yeah. Can you really call it a comedy if it's not funny? I don't know, sure.
I kind of laughed.
Yeah. Anyway, but back to Ride the Cyclone. Ride the Cyclone is very firmly magical realism, which is something that you don't really see very much of. Like, or not on this scale.
Yeah.
Like, there's occasionally, like, you know, oh, was that magic or was it not? Ooh, I'll never tell. But the thing is, I also don't especially like, because most of the time magical realism functions as, it's fantasy, but I don't have to explain it.
Yeah.
It's just there, and it's magical realism, and that's literary. And
Yeah.
like sci-fi fantasy, oh, that's not literary. That's low literature. That's low art. But if you call it magical realism, oh, that's high art. Here I have all these medals.
Yep.
But so
Which I sincerely hope this goes on to a New York run.
me too, and that's why I'm bringing it up, because this is good magical realism, because the magical realism is fun.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, and also it also goes hand in hand with the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to suspend your disbelief that much for this show. All you have to do is be like, okay, yep, this is what purgatory looks like. Let's hear the story.
Right, yeah, and that's the thing, is there's already this layer of unreality because it's purgatory. Mm-hmm. And there's this great line, it's like one of Karnak's first lines, where he says, "My function is to predict the time and method of human death."
That's not family fun.
Yeah, but I've been set on family fun mode, because it turns out that learning when and where you're going to die is
With a
not
mouthful of corn dog at a fair is not fun.
So it's that level. It's like kind of making fun of itself, but not in a hardy har way. It's like, well, it is kind of a hardy har way, but it's not like
It
doesn't undermine its own premise.
Yeah, it's self-aware without undermining itself.
Yeah, which is great and difficult to pull off. Mm-hmm. And Karnak is, like I said, my favorite character, just because he keeps showing up to like throw a monkey wrench into things, but he also has this interesting ticking clock dynamic, because
There's a rat chewing through his power cable.
There's a rat chewing through his power cable, so he has predicted his own death and knows that there's a deadline for him in the play.
Yep.
And that's really interesting. I like that kind of thing where it's like, I know exactly when and where I'm going to die.
It's in an hour.
What am I going to do with that?
Yeah.
And this is what he does with it, is be in the play. Also, Virgil the Rat shows up, and it's literally like
A bass playing rat.
yeah, it's a bass player in a rat mask, and it's amazing.
That's in like the first minute.
Yeah, it's so. Yeah, magical realism done right in a musical. Is it my birthday?
It was.
That is the most meaningless possible statement. It was my birthday.
Yep.
Anyway, so let's see. Anything else?
Not without, spoiling it, but I really don't
Yeah.
want to spoil it for you guys. So seriously, tickets are on sale. Go see it.
If you're not anywhere around Seattle, like
Write the company and
Yeah.
say, please bring it to my city.
exactly, I would love this thing to be extremely successful. So I think we need to kind of.
Also,
Here's what I'm gonna do.
I will. This is.
Okay.
I am in no way affiliated with the Act Theater by saying this, but they have captioning equipment available, and it is. I don't want to say state of the art because it's still really cool. It's the little thing that just attaches to the arm of your seat, and so there's a clear panel in front of you that captions everything, but you can see through it and still see the stage, so you're not having to look like above the stage or below the stage for the captioning.
Yeah, it's basically really subtitles for your theater. Yeah,
I discovered this when they did Tribes last year, because Tribes had a deaf lead actor and dealt with deaf culture, and Seattle also just has a really high deaf population.
Yep.
And they, just spent a lot of money to get that for that show and continue to use that, and it's super cool.
Yeah. So, that's all true. So, I think what I want to do is have us rate it.
Yeah.
And then we'll say, if you don't want spoilers, stop here. Does that sound good to you?
No, let's just rate it and call it good.
Okay.
And then we can release a different one after.
Fair enough. All right.
Because I'm definitely going to see it again.
Oh yeah, it's good. We'll do a follow-up.
Yeah.
Once it's like...
Once the run has gone on and...
Yeah, once the run is over here, we'll do a follow-up and talk about what else we think.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, let's rate this thing. So, in the Mamma Mia episode that hasn't aired yet, we updated our rating system...
To a threefold.
So, that is, what do we think of the... Like writing,
execution,
the writing, like the book, the music, all that. Then the execution, technical and acting and all that, and then how it makes you feel.
Okay.
Okay. So, would you like to go first?
Sure. So, writing, book, music, 10 out of 10. Like, as an artist and someone who's in the field, there's not anything I would change. Execution, 10 out of 10. Like, they used everything. Chekhov's gun was there.
I think Chekhov's gun was fired is the more important issue there. Yeah. If a gun goes on the mantle at the beginning of the play, it needs to go off by the end. That is Chekhov's gun. Now you know what Chekhov's gun is if you didn't know before. If you did know, I'm sorry. You don't need to listen to that last part if you already knew.
Okay, and then how it made me feel... this is not... You're not going to walk out of this feeling, like, super uplifted, but it is hopeful in a nihilistic way. Like, I walked out of there going, yeah, I feel pretty good about my life. So, in that regard, 10 out of 10.
All right. Yeah, so I'm going to go with a 9 out of 10 for the writing, just because I think it was really, really good. I think it was, like, stellar, top-notch. But I feel like it could possibly be... I know what, fuck it, 10 out of 10. I'm not even going to front. It's really good.
Yeah.
Technical-wise, all of the choreography and staging and everything was spectacular. But there were a couple places where I couldn't really tell what they were singing, just because they were, like, overlapping weirdly. So I'm going to go with 9 out of 10 there. Like, still great, don't get me wrong, but, like, I would like for there to be a little bit more, like, if it was a little more distinct, if that makes sense. Because a few times, especially during the rap number, I was, like, not sure what he was saying, because he was, like...
He's rapping in a Russian accent.
He's rapping in a Ukrainian accent, like, really strong Ukrainian accent, and everyone else is also kind of singing over that.
Yeah.
And the mixing was a little bit odd, like, the music was a little bit louder than the
also
vocals.
Keep in mind that this is literally their 5th performance.
I know, and it's a preview run, so I'm not like saying,
this
I'm not
runs
docking
through May
them for
20th,
that.
2018.
Yeah, so I would still say, really, really great.
Yeah.
As for how it made me feel, I'm going to go with 9 out of 10, and although oddly I think I found it more uplifting than you did, because the actual message of the show is actually pretty uplifting. Like, if I can sum it up a little bit, and hopefully not in a way that spoils, it's kind of life has no meaning except the meaning that you give it.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's my feeling about it. So, yeah, hardcore recommendation. This is a short episode just because we don't want to spoil it, but
Yeah. Go see this show.
Yeah, go see it if you can. If you can't go see it, just find a way. Find a way. If you like musicals at all, or even if you don't, I feel like it would actually have a fair amount of crossover. Okay, this is a weird thing. I can see this getting adapted as like a puppet-based movie. If that makes sense.
Like Fantastic Mr. Fox style?
Kinda. I was thinking more like kind of the paper puppets.
You'll have to explain that to me
I don't
later.
know why, but like I was really having a strong image of that. Or just a movie.
Yeah, it would be a really cool movie.
And you could do it for like nil budget.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
You just have to pay your musicians, really. Like,
Yeah, and the rest of like add a little bit of extra like stuff to it, but it doesn't really need any other plot elements because it's a very this is an odd thing because it doesn't have a very strong plot, but all the characters are so strong and the story is so driven by them that it works. There's really no outside forces except for, the cold embrace of death. And it's all just the characters like doing things. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of rare to see. Like there's no wacky misunderstandings, there's no plot devices really.
Yeah, also there's like I love that the queer character is not tragic. I mean, aside from the same tragedy that everyone is facing.
Yeah. He has the exact same tragedy as everyone else. And he actually like adapts to it pretty well.
Yeah. He's actually kind of like, this is I think he actually has a line that's similar to like, actually this is like the best thing that could have happened to me.
Yeah. And also the disabled character is not tragic either.
Yeah.
Or like used as a figure of like inspiration.
Yeah, no, he's there.
Yeah.
And like as soon as they're in purgatory and he loses the crutches and stuff, and he's just like, yeah, no, I'm a kid, I'm a nerd. Like
Yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are. All right, so end point to put a cap on it, to reiterate, go see Ride the Cyclone. Support it, please. And yeah, enjoy your ride. So, yeah. Do you want to do and you do the sign off usually?
Yeah. This has been Let's Put on a Show with Sabra.
And Rob.
And go break some legs.
Yeah, we're not going to break your legs for you. I'm going to chew your food for you. Baby bird. Let's Put on a Show is a production of Blood and Thunder Publications. And our theme music is Ragamama by Purple Planet Music. I wasn't whistling Dixie before. Go see this show if you can at all. Alright? Alright. Do me a solid this way? Yeah, cool. I'll get you back later. Just like, come up to me on the street and be like, yo, I went and saw that play. And I'll be like, oh, sweet, let me pay you back. I don't know how I'll pay you back. I'll give you a high five. I give notoriously good high fives. Fuck it, I'll give you a hug. Hugs are good, right? Yeah, I'll pay you in hugs. Just go see the show. Cool. Alright, peace.